how's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Deadman Wonderland Volume 1. I recently was at my local used bookstore, and I saw all 13 volumes of Deadman Wonderland for sale at a pretty reasonable price, so I did get to pick them all up, so I do have the entirety of this series, and I'm hoping to make individual volume reviews for the whole time, kind of like a reading vlog as I go along. But I was really excited to pick this one up. It was definitely one that I wanted to check out. It seemed like a really interesting book with some fun characters, and I have to say, Volume 1 definitely wasn't a disappointment. Volume 1 was pretty cool. Basically, you get this kid named Ganta, and he's framed for murder when a mysterious man in red kills his entire class but him, and he gets sent to Deadman Wonderland, which is a half prison, half amusement park, where guests pay to watch the prisoners compete in deadly games. Yeah, if you like Rollerball or Running Man, that whole deadly games subgenre, this is a good manga for you. He has to compete in all these games in order to earn cast points so that he can routinely buy off this antidote candy to keep him from being poisoned to death. So yeah, stuck in a pretty bad place there, and he does have a few good action sequences and meets some interesting characters, but there's also this sense that there's something more going on behind the scenes, and that there's something deeper going on here. He meets this girl, I think her name is Shiro, and she claims to know him from the past and says that the two of them have a connection, which he, of course, doesn't really remember, but we as an audience are keen on that flashback and know that there was a strange event in his childhood that does tie these two together, and we also, because we're the audience, get to see a tiny peek behind the curtain of Deadman Wonderland's operation, and they're definitely hiding a few things. So there is a good bit of a mystery here, what's going on with the past, what's going on with the park, what's going on with the man in red, and that does have me intrigued, as well as just the regular fun, deadly games concept that this builds on. And Deadman Wonderland is a fun, stylish, almost Tim Burton-esque world. It's a pretty cool idea, and I definitely can't wait to read the rest of the volumes, and I can definitely recommend this one, so here's hoping the whole thing comes out pretty good. Anyway, let's go ahead and switch to the close-up camera. I'll show you guys this book in a little bit more close-up, and I'll also talk about a few more of the plot points for a more in-depth analysis. So without further ado, let's switch to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle, taking a closer look at Deadman Wonderland Volume 1. Bring it closer to the camera, we can see that the story and art are by Jinsei Kataoka and Kazuma Kondou. And we also get this thing with the Deadman Wonderland volumes, where the backgrounds, and in turn the spines, will alternate between white and black. The spines will also have the number with this chain motif, which should connect up between all the volumes. That's pretty cool, and in addition to that, Deadman Wonderland covers are typically character portraits, and not always, but from time to time, are actually printed in landscape. So there's Ganta, and I believe her name is Shiro there, on the front cover, and he is clearly way more stressed out than she is. But she's the series' iconic character with this skin-tight costume, with a red swirly paint over it, and the fact that she's basically an albino there. Yeah, very, very striking character design. Flip it to the back, we get the plot summary, the barcode 9.99 USA T+, and a portrait of the man in red. Anyway, crack it open, we get an inner cover of Ganta there lined up on the wall for his prison photo, and then we get the table of contents, and we note that it's only 4 chapters, but the first chapter is actually pretty long, so that explains why there's only 4, but also we get what they call an extra gadget, which is a few pages of bonus features, which I always do appreciate. We get the two prison's mascots talking about the rules, and we also get a few sort of humorous little comics at the back here. Not the biggest bonus feature ever, but still pretty fun. Anyway, after that we get into the story proper. I won't be doing any major spoilers, but I will take a minute and talk a bit about a few of the plot points and do a little bit of analysis. So, without further ado, no major spoilers, but let's talk about the story. Anyway, we open up in a black and white and red section. Yeah, these are color pages preserved, although that being said, it's really more the red for these first few. But we get to see these two kids playing this strange symbol on the piano, and then we get the military coming in, a big explosion, this strange character, and a giant earthquake that will rock Japan for quite some time. And we see on the piano with this strange symbol, a mysterious red crystal shard. Now, these pages are just black, white, and red. Could have got more use out of the color in them, I wish, but after that we get a double page cover splash, which features the main characters, and I think, hey, here we're actually using the color pretty well, getting to see all these guys against the prison. That's pretty nice. And then the prison itself, we'll get the next page talking about Deadman Wonderland, and there's the bridge that goes up to it. It's pretty cool. But anyway, jumping into the present, we get Ganta there in school, and he's looking at stuff for Deadman Wonderland. Deadman Wonderland is a private prison where people can watch the prisoners compete in death games, but it's okay because all the money raised from the prison will go into helping rebuild Japan after that huge earthquake. Anyway, he has a few friends, and we also get to see he's drawing that symbol on everything he owns, but don't get too attached to his friends. The music plays and he remembers it vaguely from his childhood, and it turns out the man in red is going to attack his classroom. And yeah, those friends, I hope you didn't get too attached to them because they're all dead. Anyway, being the sole survivor, unfortunately for him, they blame him for the murder, and I always got the feeling that he is supposed to have been, like, set up or something, but we don't really get to find out too much details about the trial there, so maybe we'll cut back to this later. But anyway, he is sent to Deadman Wonderland, and we get a feeling for, like, how tough the prison is, meeting this woman who's high up. I think she's like the second in command, who's beautiful but also ruthless. This guy bumps into him, and the warden thinks he's trying to steal something from Ganta, and is going to give him this big wound across his chest. Yeah, no sympathy at Deadman Wonderland here. But that being said, this character actually does survive, and he turns out to be a pretty interesting character later. Although that being said, he's one of the couple characters that somehow comes back. And it's a little weird that you come back after that. But anyway, he'll get this moment later where he's all upset about how hard his life's going. And he says, "I wish I was dead." Well, someone's going to come and try to grant that wish for you. If you want to die, I'll be happy to kill you. But when he defends himself, she realizes, oh good, you don't really want to die. And he goes, "Who are you?" And she's like, "You don't know who I am. Ganta and Shiro are old friends." And he, of course, doesn't remember her, but we do get this panel connecting them back to the children at the beginning of the book. And we are kind of in this position where we know a bit. We know that these two are the kids from the beginning. We know they had something to do with the earthquake, but we don't really know exactly how it ties together. So we're given this pretty big peek into the past, but we don't know all the specifics yet. There'll be a few other, little action sequences before we really get going, like the big Deadman Wonderland ball. There's a assassination attempt on him where they try to crush him with it, which is a cool scene. But we'll also meet a few other characters, in this prison. For example, there's going to be this girl who I don't really know what she's arrested for, but she tends to want to try to be moral, and she'll tell Ganta about the point system. Basically, if you do stuff in the prison, you get cast points, which has a kind of unfortunate acronym, but you need those to buy better food, and she'll give him a sandwich. However, we are unfortunately going to get this bully, and he'll have to choose between siding with the girl, who is clearly trying to do the right thing, and siding with the bully, which is kind of this big force that he is kind of powerless to fight against. So that will be a lot of his morality in the story later. But anyway, they are going to find out that the prison is going to hold this sort of obstacle course race, and if you enter, hey, you know, probably won't be dangerous, and you'll get a snack afterwards, but if you win, you'll get 100,000 cast points. And at first he thinks, okay, have some fun with the girl, get a snack, it's not going to be terrible. But that's where he'll eventually find out that because he's a death row inmate, he actually needs 100,000 cast points every day in order to buy this candy, which is the antidote to his poison. So yeah, he goes from just wanting to win the race for fun to having to do it to survive. And of course the bully is going to be there, and that's going to create a lot more of a challenge for him, and that's going to be the action for most of the rest of the book. I won't go too far into the obstacle course, but needless to say, it is legitimately deadly. Like, they think it's just going to be fun, but the prison decides to crank it up a notch this time. But luckily for him, he does have a friend in the prison that's going to help him along during this first initial battle, both with the obstacles and these gangster characters. And I have to say, it is a really fun book. That sort of people in prison having to go do this sort of Running Man style contest. You know, you get the whole deadly games subgenre of horror, which this really does fit into. Overall, I thought it was pretty fun. I can definitely recommend it. And I do like how, with this notion of the past, and we also get a few peeks into more specifics of Deadman Wonderland, you know that there is going to be more going on here, and I can't wait to see exactly what that is. I can't wait to see how deep this is going to go, what the revelations are, and how the relationships between all these characters do change. So, fingers crossed that this book comes out really cool. There are 13 volumes of this. They're all out, and I actually have picked up all 13, so I'm going to be reading through this and taking a look at each one as I get to it. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my manga playlist, where you can see me talk about other things like Chainsaw Man, Junji Ito, Orochi, and I'm trying to get more and more in there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.